Welcome to Politics News Wolf US channel. The news that shook the agenda came from Russia. It was claimed that the critical area changed hands in the morning hours. President of Ukraine made a statement about the region for the first time during the day. Very important images were broadcast from the eastern. The violence of the clashes in Soldier is increasing. With each passing hour, the region where the war was most intense was announced as Soldier. Both Russia and Ukraine launched an all-out operation in the region. However, it is clear that Russian army could not gain full control in the region. For this reason, a great movement began on Beru border. More than 700 Russian soldiers were dispatched to Beru. The number of fronts in the war on the territory of Ukraine continues to increase in this process. It turned out that the military equipment most used by Moscow was ineffective. Tension continues to rise at the front. Ukrainian army attempted a major infiltration on the eastern front. A large number of Russian soldiers were neutralized in a single operation. Russia's focused on the eastern front with all its. The only chance for Putin's fake victory seems to be in Don. For several days, there had been clashes around Soldier and Kremlina, but today very violent operations began. During this period, Ukrainian army controlled 95% of the city. Russian army began to advance, launching extensive operations. According to the statements of experts working in the region, it was reported that Russian army made progress in the region despite the increase in the number of. However, Ukrainian army continues its shipments in the city center and did not transfer all its strength to the front. After the statements, a shocking news was shared from Russian media. Kremlin announced that Russian forces had completely captured Soldier. The commander of Russian mercenary army Wagner Yevgeny Prin announced that they had taken control of the salt mining town of Sold in eastern Ukraine. Russia sees Soldier as the key to its campaign for the strategic city of Bme and Ukraine's wider eastern Donbas region. However, statements were made by Ukraine in a short. Ukraine's Ministry of Defense, Russian army is trying every possible way to advance in the region. Wagner Group suffered huge losses, but they continue to advance. However, the resistance in the region continues. Soldier is under the control of Ukrainian army. Do not take the false news published seriously. Then President of Ukraine, Zelensky, made important statements about Soldier. Zelensky: Soldier is under the control of Ukrainian army and we are successfully defending the area. Our soldiers repelled all Russian attacks. We think that Russia has started to spread false news about the mobilization announcement to be launched. Soldier is under the control of Ukraine and our. Don't mind the fake news. Russia and Kremlin media are trying to achieve success on behalf of Soldier. Russia shares a lot of misinformation to encourage soldiers to join the army. The conflict has escalated in the region, but the control is in the hands of Ukrainian army. The Donk front continues to resist, and we will not allow the Russians to control Soldier. Russian resistance is, it now seems impossible for Kremlin to achieve its goals. We will declare victory in the region in a short time. He said after Zelensky. Ukrainian armed forces made statements about the latest situation of Soldier. Wait for general staff statements and stay away from misinformation. Armed forces of Ukraine. The area is completely under the control of Ukrainian troops. It seems that Russia is aware that it has lost. Because they are trying to create psychological pressure in the region with fake news, PGA statements do not reflect the truth. Prhan began propaganda to cover up the losses because our Ukrainian defense units dealt the biggest blow to Russian army in recent times. The number of casualties of Russian soldiers has increased tremendously. He said, all eyes are on the Soldier area. It is known that conflicts still continue in the. However, for about a week, Russian media continues to publish false news, one after another. Moscow announced the seizure of many areas after the latest record number of casualties. However, all of the declared areas are still under the control of Ukrainian army. Ukrainian General Staff shared many videos and photos from the announced regions. Satellite images also show Ukrainian flag waving in the Kremlin is quite worried about the reactions. For this reason, Russian media wants to encourage those who will go to the military by giving false information. It is known that as a result of the last comprehensive missile attack of Ukrainian army, more than 600 Russian soldiers were neutralized at once. As you may recall, Russian media claimed that after the operations organized by Ukraine, Russia launched missile attacks on Kiev and that many Ukrainian soldiers were neutralized. But Kiev soon proved the reports wrong. They also asked Russia to release an official document on the disappearances, but Kremlin did not give any explanation. After this process, Russian media started to spread fake. On the other hand, photos continue to come one after another from the front. At the moment, the reports that Russia has taken over the region are clearly false, but the intensity of the fighting at the front is quite high. Russian Lancet car, Rons attacked. Ukrainian tanks one after another on the eastern front. Attacks were carried out on the area between the turret and the hoe of tanks belonging to Ukrainian army. Attacks are made on the weakest part of the. However, according to the published photos, despite the attack made from the weakest part of the tank, a small burn occurred on tank. The tank continues to work actively. Ukrainian authorities announced that Lancet drones could not damage tanks belonging to the Ukrainian army. However, Kremlin claimed that these drones could destroy all tanks with a single attack. In this process, Russian army continues its shipments to carry out extensive attacks through LAR. Having lost a record number of soldiers on the Eastern Front, Russian army delivered 750 soldiers and a large number of tanks to Belarus. Another military echelon consisting of 15 passenger and 10 cargo wagons, and 15 wheeled and tracked platform wagons, arrived at the Shino train station in EBSCO list. Belarus, another echelon of Russian armed forces, has arrived at the Shino train station. A total of 15 passenger cars, about 750 people. 10 freight cars with equipment, ammunition, and 15 platform cars with wheeled and tracked equipment arrived in Belarus. Larky media outlet reported that military equipment has taken off from the Moscow station in Noms, Russia. Also, shipments of Russian army were detected on Theta Sii railway line, as well as in Gomel-Bary Yosipy, Oria, and Minsk. Larky Hagen concludes that the nature of the movements of the Russians indicates firstly, the regrouping of Russian troops in Belarus, and secondly, the rotation of part of the personnel of Russian Federation trained at Russian training grounds at the same time. At the moment, the Russian Federation continues to accumulate troops on the border with Ukraine, but the vast majority of soldiers participate in exercises and train Belarusian. While the shipments were in progress, Russia again changed. The commander, Russian Chief of General Staff Jeff, was appointed head of the joint military forces responsible for special military operations in Ukraine, announcing the appointment. Russian Ministry of Defense stated that the decision aims to increase the effectiveness of operations in Ukraine 10 months after the start of special military operat. The Kremlin continues to react to the commanders who went to the front due to failures. But Russian army has made at least 10 commander changes since the beginning of the war. The last KD Rav and PGAZin were appointed commander of the Eastern Front. However, the number of casualties of Russian army continues to increase day by day. The violence of the conflict is higher than it has ever been. We have come to the end of another video. We will continue to report the events in the coming hours to you quickly and accurately. Thank you for watching the video. If you find it useful, please comment and share the video for us. It will make our channel more known. See you in the following videos. Thank you very much.